Welcome back, or welcome for the first time as we have our Christmas pageant together. So for those of you I haven't had a chance to meet yet, my name is Pastor Robert, and welcome to Restoration CRC, and a special welcome to any of you who are joining us online today as well. So thank you for coming for this production of the best Christmas pageant ever. This book was originally written in 1972 by Barbara Robinson. You may have read it, or you may have seen the movie last year. They came out with a nice production of it, and that was sort of what sparked Jean and I in our conversation of, hey, we should give this a go and produce it. I grew up reading this book and really enjoyed it, and I hope you do too. In the story, there are 6 herdmans. We only have 5. So FYI, there's only 5 herdmans. But we're excited to have some time to share the Christmas story a little differently today with all of you. So we're going to take a moment here to light our Advent candles, because we only get to light them a handful of more times as we remember why we are here together, celebrating God's goodness and the coming of Jesus. So we're going to, because we have, a church and not a stage production, you're going to see me stand up occasionally and say, scene. And then you're just going to wait a moment while we transition between movements. And we're going to have some fun together today, I hope. And bear with us as we enjoy sharing this story with you. So we're going to go into scene 1. Before I do scene 1, Jean asked me to do this, and this is a great idea. So let me give you our characters real quick. Beth Bradley is our narrator. That's Eva. We have Grace Bradley is Maddie. Her husband Bob Bradley is Henry, and their son is Charlie Bradley over here. And then we have our narrator Beth's best friend Alice Wendelkin. Then Jocelyn is Mrs. McCarthy. I serve as Reverend Hopkins. Imogene Herdman is Evelyn Jagger. Ralph Herdman is Abe. Leroy Herdman is Benny. Claude Herdman is Travis. And Gladys Herdman is Ollie. Is Olive. Is Ollie. Ollie Herdman no longer exists. So, all right. And we have a bunch of shepherds and angels who will be appearing as well.
The Herdmans were absolutely the worst kids in the history of the world. They lied and stole and smoked cigars and talked dirty and hit little kids and cussed their teachers and set fire to Fred Shoemaker's old broken-down tool house.
It was a terrific fire. 2 engines and 2 police cars and all the volunteer firemen and 5 dozen donuts sent up from the Tasty Lunch Diner. The donuts were supposed to be for the firemen, but the time they got the fire out, the donuts were all gone. The Herdmans got them. What they couldn't eat, they stuffed in their pockets and down the front of their shirts.
The fire chief gave all of us kids a lecture about playing with matches. Turns out, though, the neighbors had been pestering Mr. Shoemaker to do something about the old tool house because it was about to fall down anyway. So they said the fire was a blessing in disguise. My father said that it was the only good thing the Herdmans ever did, and if they had known it was a good thing, they wouldn't have done it at all.
I was always in the same grade as Imogene Herdman, and what I did was stay out of her way. You couldn't do it if you were very pretty, or very ugly, or very smart, or very dumb, or had anything unusual about you, like red hair or double-jointed thumbs. But if you were a medium kid like me, and you kept your mouth shut, you did okay. As far as anyone could tell, Imogene was just like the rest of the Herdmans. She never learned anything either, except dirty words and secrets out about everybody.
It was no good trying to get secrets on the Herdmans. Everybody already knew the awful things they did. You couldn't even tease them about their parents because they didn't care. Actually, some of them didn't know who their father was or where he was or anything about him because when the youngest herdman, Gladys, was 2 years old, he climbed on a railroad train and disappeared. No one seemed to blame him. Mrs. Herdman worked double shifts at the shoe factory and wasn't home much, and so the Herdmans pretty much looked after the meanest herdman of all. Wait. And proof that was the meanest of the herdmen was Gladys, the youngest. The big ones taught the little ones everything they knew. And the proof of that was the meanest herdman of all was Gladys, the youngest.
We figured they were headed straight for you-know-where, the state prison, until they got themselves mixed up with a church, my mother, in our Christmas pageant. When Miss Helen Armstrong fell and broke her leg, my mother was put in charge of the Christmas pageant. Our Christmas pageant isn't what you'd call a four-star entertainment. Miss Armstrong breaking her leg was the only exciting thing that ever happened to it. The script was standard: the inn, the stable, the shepherds, the star, and baby Jesus, Joseph and Mary. And so are the costumes, and so is the casting. Little kids are angels, older kids are shepherds. The oldest boys are the wise men. Elmer Hopkins, the minister's son, had been Joseph for as long as I can remember. And my friend Alice Wendelkin is Mary because she's so smart, neat, and clean. And most of all, holy looking. All the rest of us are the angel choir, lined up according to height because nobody can actually sing parts. But this year was different, thanks to my brother Charlie.
Leroy, you took my dessert again.
Oh yeah? Prove it.
It doesn't matter. You can take it. I get all the dessert I want at church every Sunday. Chocolate cake, cookies, ice cream, as much as we want.
Who gives it to you?
The preacher.
At the first meeting, my mother started by asking for volunteers.
I know that many of you would like to be Mary in our pageant, but of course we only have one Mary, so I'll ask for volunteers, and then we'll decide together which girl should get the part.
That was pretty safe to say, since the only person who ever raised their hand was Alice Wendelkin. But Alice just sat there chewing on a piece of her hair and looking down at the floor, and the only person who raised her hand this time was Imogene Herdman.
Did you have a question, Imogene?
No, I want to be Mary though. And Ralph here? He'll be Joseph.
Mother just stared at them. She couldn't believe this. What she didn't know is that Imogene bullied Alice into letting her be Mary, and Elmer Hopkins was relieved he didn't have to be Joseph again. Last year he tried to pay Grady Baker 50 cents to be Joseph, and he wouldn't do it.
I'm going to be Mary in this thing this year.
Was Mary every year.
Not this year. I'm being Mary. And if you so much as open your mouth, I'll stick a pussy willow bush so far down your ear that it will sprout there. You'll have a pussy willow bush sticking out of your ear all spring.
No one volunteered to be the wise men either, except Leroy and Claude Herdman.
What can I be? You can be a wise man. What's that?
think it's some kind of king.
I want to be one of those. Can I be a wise man too?
Sure, why not?
What can I be?
I don't know. What's left?
Well, there's the angel of the Lord. She delivers the good news to the shepherds.
That's it. I'll be the angel.
I can't be a shepherd.
Of course you'll be a shepherd, Charlie. You're always a shepherd.
I don't want to be a shepherd.
Well, why not?
Gladys Herdman hits too hard.
Well, for heaven's sake, you're being a shepherd, and that's the end of that.
So there was my mother, stuck with a Christmas pageant full of Herdmans in the main roles. Some people said it wasn't fair for a whole family who didn't even go to our church to barge in and take over the pageant. My father said somebody better lock up the Women's Society silver service. My mother just said she would rather be in a hospital with Miss Armstrong. She really didn't want to do it. But then someone took a potted geranium to Miss Armstrong and told her what was going on, and she nearly fell out of bed, cats and all. She said that if she had been up and around for the whole thing, it would have never happened. And that made my mother so mad she couldn't see straight.
If she'd been up and around, it wouldn't have happened. That woman, she must be surprised the sun is still coming up every morning without her to supervise. Helen Armstrong is the only woman alive who can run a Christmas pageant. I've made up my mind to do the best I could under the circumstances, but now I'm going to have to make this the very best Christmas pageant ever. And I'm going to do it with the Herdmans too. After all, they are the only ones who raised their hands.
Good for you. I'll even help.
Really?
Yes, you can have my bathrobe for a shepherd.
So Mother called the first rehearsal. Everybody quieted up right away for fear of missing something awful the Herdmans might do. Leroy had already knuckled Charlie behind the ear. And one little girl yelled as Gladys went by, but Mother said she was going to ignore everything except for blood. And since the little girl wasn't bleeding, and neither was Charlie, nothing happened. Even so, right away, Mother ran into trouble.
Who were the shepherds? Where did they come from?
What was the inn? What's an inn?
It's like a motel where people go to spend the night.
What people? Jesus?
Oh, honestly, Jesus wasn't even born yet. Mary and Joseph went there.
Why? What happened first? Begin at the beginning.
The thing was, the Herdmans didn't know anything about the Christmas story. They knew that Christmas was Jesus' birthday, but everything else was news to them. The shepherds, the wise men, the star, the stable, the crowded inn. So Mother said she had better begin by reading the story from the Bible. This was a pain in the neck for most of us because we knew the whole thing backward and forward.
Joseph and Mary, his espoused wife, being great with child.
Pregnant?
I don't think it's very nice to say Mary was pregnant.
But she was, Alice.
I'm not supposed to talk about people being pregnant. I better tell my mom
Tell her what?
that your mother is talking about things like that in church.
I was pretty sure she would too, because she still wanted to be Mary. But there wasn't much I could do about it but pinch Alice.
Ow!
Shh.
Which I did, and she yelped. Oh, as Mother told the story, one of the herdmen would yell, "What's that?" whenever they didn't understand something.
You mean there wasn't any room in the inn? Not even for Jesus?
Well, now, after all, nobody knew that the baby was going to turn out to be Jesus.
You said Mary knew. Why didn't she tell them? I would have told them. Boy, I would have told them. What was the matter with Joseph? Wait, hang on. That he didn't tell them? Her pregnant and everything?
What did they, what was that laid the baby in? The manger? Is that like a bed? Why would anyone have a bed in the barn?
That's just the point. They didn't have a bed in the barn, so Mary and Joseph had to use whatever there was. What would you do if you had a new baby and no bed to put the baby in?
We put Gladys in the dresser drawer.
Well, there you are. You didn't have a bed for Gladys, so you had to use something else. Mary and Joseph used the manger. A manger is a large wooden feeding trough for animals.
What were the wadded up clothes?
The what?
You read about it. She wrapped him in wadded up clothes.
Swaddling clothes. Long ago, people used to wrap their babies very tightly in big pieces of material so they couldn't move around. It made the babies feel cozy and comfortable.
Why didn't Mary get to name the baby?
I named him.
Joseph didn't name the baby either. God sent an angel to tell Mary what his name should be.
I would have named him Bill. What did the angel do? Just walk up and say, name him Jesus?
Mother was in a hurry to finish, so she said.
Yes.
But then Alice Wendelkin had to open her big mouth.
I know what the angel said. She said, "His name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace."
I could have hit her.
My goodness, he'd never get out of first grade if he had to write all that.
And so it went, Mother telling the story and explaining it to the herdmans. They were really interested in Herod. When Mother said that Herod planned to put baby Jesus to death, Emma Jean exclaimed,
My goodness, he was just born and they're already out to kill him.
I figured they were interested in Herod because they liked him. He was so mean that he could have been their ancestor, Herod Herdman. But I was wrong. They wanted somebody to be Herod so they could beat up on him. I couldn't understand the herdmans. You would have thought that the Christmas story came right out of a true crime show. They got so involved in it. Wanted a bloody end to Herod. Worried about Mary having her baby in a barn and called the wise men a bunch of dirty spies. After she finished the story, we got through the first rehearsal. The second rehearsal was even more exciting than the first. Miss McCarthy called the fire department because she smelled smoke in the women's washroom. It just turned out to be Emma Jane smoking cigars during the break in the rehearsal. But while everyone was milling about the street, the applesauce cake that the ladies on the potluck committee had been making burned up. When Reverend Hopkins heard about the fire, he asked Mother if we should call the whole thing off. He said the whole church was in uproar and he didn't think anyone would come to see the pageant, but he was wrong.
I swear, Reverend Hopkins, I smelled smoke. I opened the door to the ladies' room, and it was full of blue smoke.
Honestly, Mrs. McCarthy, there was no fire. Don't you know cigar smoke when you see it?
I wasn't expecting to find cigar smoke in the ladies' bathroom of a church.
Maybe this is a bad idea.
What?
I know that Jesus said, suffer the little children, but I'm pretty sure he did not mean the herdmans. Maybe we should just call the whole thing off.
Not on your life. This was the best Christmas pageant ever, and I'll do it with the Herdmans. What am I doing?
Putting on a Christmas pageant?
Am I? What if no one shows up to watch it?
They'll come. You'll see.
And if they do, what will they see? We haven't had one full rehearsal yet. This could very well be the year that Joseph and the wise man get into the fist fight and Mary runs off with the baby.
Mother was wrong. Everybody came to see what the herdmans would do.
Let's sing together O Little Town of Bethlehem.
When we finished singing O Little Town of Bethlehem, Ralph and Emma Jean were there. Only for once they didn't come through the door, pushing each other out of the way. They just stood there for a minute as if they weren't sure they were in the right place. Because of the spotlight, I guess, in the church being full of people, they looked like people you see on 6 o'clock news, refugees in some strange broken down place, with all their boxes and sacks around them. It suddenly occurred to me that this was just like the way it must have been for the real Holy Family. Stuck away in a barn by people who didn't care much about what happened to them. They couldn't have been very neat and tidy either, but more like this Mary and Joseph.
I don't think it's very nice to burp the baby as if he had colic. Do you suppose he had colic?
I didn't know why not. Anyway, next came Gladys from behind the angel choir, pushing people from out. Gladys was the only one in the pageant who had anything to say, so she made the most of it.
Hey, unto you a child is born.
Let's sing together, Hark the Herald Angels Sing.
Then the wise men came in.
What have they got?
I don't know, but whatever it is, it was heavy. Leroy almost dropped it.
I knew this would happen. I bet it's something awful, like a burnt offering.
Well, they did burn things, but they hadn't burned this yet. It was a ham, and right away I knew it was where it came from. My father was on the church charitable works committee. They gave away food baskets on Christmas, and this was the Herdman's food basket ham.
I bet they stole that.
The Herdmans had never before in their lives been giving anything away except for lumps on the head, so you had to be impressed. When it was time for the wise men to leave, the Herdmans forgot or didn't want to, or something, because they didn't leave. They just sat there, and there wasn't anything anyone could do about it.
They were ruining the whole thing.
As a matter of fact, it made perfect sense for the wise men to sit down and rest. They have come a long way. As for ruining the whole thing, it seemed to me that the Herdmans had improved it a lot just by doing what came naturally, like burping a baby, for instance, or thinking of ham would make a better present than a lot of perfumed oil.
Let's sing together the first Noel.
I almost wished for the pageant to go on with the Herdmans in charge to see what else they would do that was different. Maybe the wise men would tell Mary about their problems with Herod, and she would tell them to go back and lie their heads off. Or Joseph might go with them and get rid of Herod once and for all. I was so busy planning my new ways to save baby Jesus that I didn't notice Imogene at first. When I did, I almost was so busy planning new ways. Dropped my hymn book on a baby angel. Imogene Herdman was crying. In the candlelight, her face was all shiny with tears, and she didn't even bother to wipe them away. She just sat there, awful Emma Jean, in her cockeyed veil, crying, crying, crying. I guess Christmas just came over her all at once, like a case of chills and a fever, and so she was crying. Well, it was the best Christmas pageant we ever had. Everybody said so, but nobody seemed to know why. When it was all over, people stood around the lobby of the church talking about it. There was something special. They couldn't put their finger on what.
Ralph, Leroy, would you children like to take some candy bags home with you?
No thanks.
Imogen?
No, but could I have the picture of Mary and baby Jesus from the classroom?
Of course. Don't forget to take your ham bag home.
It's a gift for the baby. You don't take back a gift.
Now whenever I think of the Christmas story, Mary is always going to look a lot like Emma Jean Herdman, sort of nervous and bewildered, but ready to clobber anyone who lays a hand on her baby. And the wise men are always going to look like Leroy and his brothers, bearing a ham. When we came out of the church that night, it was cold and clear, with crunchy snow underfoot and bright, bright stars overhead, and I thought about the angel of the Lord, Gladys, with her skinny legs and her dirty sneakers sticking out from under her robe, yelling at all of us everywhere.
Hey, unto us a child is born.
All right, please join us in the back for cookies and coffee and enjoy some time together. And punch and hot cocoa.